Welcome, very good seeing you, Chris. Welcome everybody to Morning Coffee with me, Ivan Sutton, and today is the special Victoria Day weekend version of it. So let's chat a little bit about what's going on this week. Everybody should know that today, of course, is me. There is no lounge today. Because people need to be able to spend some time with their families. And it's nice weather, so get outside and enjoy it. I think it's going to be like 17 degrees today, so definitely enjoy that. And then tomorrow, of course, we have a city leader call for those folks that are on council. Wednesday, our very own Sheila Chan has Tea Talks at 3:30 p.m. Tea Talks is, Sheila, go ahead and tell people about that. I'm going to actually go in today. I'm going to buy my tea from you. So I'm going to get in there and get that done today. But tell everybody about it.
Tea Talks is a mini series. We're going to have one session over, I guess, every quarter for the rest of the year. And the first one is actually Tea Talks on... my short form is really a detox on a specific topic. And the first one is actually a financial detox. And we're going to explore a couple of ways in which debt elimination could be helpful for a couple of people. You may know, if you wish to, you can invite them just to see if it's something that they may know somebody who could use, and just connect with me, and I can make sure that I do those analysis for those people if they are so interested.
Great. It's a free call, but if you want the tea, then just jump onto the website and go ahead and buy the tea. I'm dying to try it. Sheila sent me a packet before with some I don't know what those were to help vitamins and stuff in a drink, and very effervescent, in taste. It was great. So I'm dying to try the tea. All right, then. Now that we have that, Wednesday we have and then that's Wednesday 3:30 to 4:30, which is of course tea time, right? For those who are familiar with that. Thursday morning
is tea time too.
yes, and yeah, absolutely. Thursday, Catherine, what do you have for us on Tech Talk?
We're going to do the bottom 10 of the expected greatest inventions by.
We started last week.
Yeah, 2030. Yeah. We did the top 10, and it's funny because a lot of things that they're talking about now are in those, right? So it's like, oh, okay, and this video has been out for a couple months, so
yes,
it's either they got inside information or they're pretty good in foresight. So it was interesting to see some of the stuff, and amazing. The medical stuff is just. That they can print organs that will be acceptable to the human body and blood vessel. That's and memory. That was just astounding to me. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I love it. Can't wait. Women's Business Club is at 12:30 on Thursday. Right, Teresa? Women's Business Club. Okay. And then a couple of things I want to just point out as well. We do have a new member. The new member is from Essex County, and they are, let me just see here, Ives Insurance Brokers. Now, Ives Insurance Brokers, they actually do business insurance, okay, corporate insurance. So if you're looking for somebody, I met the young lady, Cassandra, at the last event. Just a fantastic lady. And so if you have business insurance or you don't have business insurance and you need it, I strongly suggest that you reach out to her. But I encourage everybody to go ahead and make her feel welcome. Then we also have a new city leader for the great city of St. Catharines, and that is Maggie Stice. Maggie, woo-hoo! Yeah, all right. Okay, everybody calm down. You're going to scare her. All right. So folks, today, I'd love to talk about a few things, but I want to, since this is a nice small group that we have here, I just want everybody to know, again, what everybody does, because, whether it's content writing, or whether it's social media, or it's web development, or it's somebody that that does not have affordable legal Catherine is looking for contacts in larger companies that is with human resources, right, Catherine? Like whatever it is, I'd like for us to just remember who everybody is and to, adorable.
What a way to steal a show.
And basically keep every member in mind so that you can refer to them. If you hear somebody who needs something, we just want to, it's getting tougher out there for people, as you probably hear on the news. Interest rates are going up, etc. The cost of living is going up for a lot of folks. So definitely go ahead and share. We want to make sure that, as with the pandemic, I don't think any of our members have gone out of business unless they chose to do something differently on their own. But basically, we want to make sure that we're supporting our members as much as possible. All right. So with that, I want to just draw attention to two things to do with this great city. Three things. The first thing is some of the really cool, sexy things that we have coming up. Like, there is nothing sexier. Chris, I'm telling you, there's nothing sexier than axe throwing. Okay?
It is great fun.
Absolutely. So Catherine, why don't you tell everybody about axe throwing is coming up?
Yes, in June, we are going to Battle Axe, which is on James Street North here in Hamilton. And I've spoken with the event coordinator there. And so they can set us up at 6 to a lane. So we do need our VSPs so that we know how many lanes to secure. But we get, for your $30, I think it is, you get an hour of axe throwing. We get an instructor. We'll be able to have like competitions between the two teams, fun competitions. Okay, guys, it's all in fun. And you get a bar drink after, right? So
and that Teresa and I are giving up our bar drinks.
Yeah. Right. So, or you don't have to have a bar. You can get a soft drink as well.
Okay.
They do support designated drivers as well.
Okay.
They can actually have up to 3 pops. So,
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So Teresa and I, we bought our tickets last night. So, there's 2 there. I think Catherine's picking up her tickets. So we're pretty close to getting our 6. So please jump in there. And even if we have our 6, we can create another group of 6 as well. Yeah. So, and then we can have.
I definitely. How do you get tickets then?
So there's a link on the website. Okay. So that brings me to the second point, and that is our .ca. All right. So if everybody's in front of the computer, just go ahead to thisgreatcity.ca. Thisgreatcity.ca, which is a very, very sexy little site. So this is our, yes, happy Victoria Day, Nathan. Thank you. The .ca is the website that we're using for purchases and things like that. Okay, so just going in there, and I just want you folks to know too that if you have a workshop or a seminar or a course or anything that you'd like to put together, right, and you'd like it to be done through This Great City, then you can go ahead and set it up here and sell it here. We take a small percentage, but then we promote it with everything else that we're doing, and we're trying to make the .ca the hub, like the marketplace for people that are coming to check things out. And if you are on that site, you'll notice that there are here we go. So under merchandise, that's our merchandise. Under marketplace, that's the things that you guys want to sell. So if you have stuff that you want to sell, there's nothing in there right now, just let me know. I'll give you a username and password. You can go in there and post your own stuff. I will do a training on that. And so anything that you want to sell, your old bike, those old roller blades, remember, we don't rollerblade anymore. Go ahead and put them on here. And, or even if you have new items that you're selling, you can go ahead and put those on there. And then, as more people come to the digital mall, then they will be able to find your stuff, right? So
Now, is there an online payment processing, or is it more like GG where you just contact people and
no. So they can go ahead and pay for it right then and there. So
Very
as
cool.
soon as they pay for it, they're paying for it either through Stripe or they're paying for it through PayPal.
Okay.
So once that's done, then you'll get the confirmation that it's been sold, and then all the money comes to me. Thank you so much.
Is there
And then
is there shipping?
Yeah, shipping is hooked up. So all shipping is being done through Inexpress.
Okay.
So that they look after all of that. We think that it's a really great service. So
Obviously,
that's
yeah.
that, right?
But it defaults you to, be careful, because it defaults you to shipping. So it kept trying to ship my tickets last night.
Okay, yeah. So Teresa, as we've just figured out that that should be an actual virtual product and not a real product that needs to ship it.
That's okay. I mean, I could kick it off, right? But I went, whoa, that price went up a lot. That's a heck of an HST.
Yeah, no, I changed it to just pick up and then it doesn't charge you anything.
Yeah, it let me take it out, but yeah.
Nice.
So and we're learning as we go. So but definitely that's there. Workshops and seminars, as you can tell, I put the one that we're doing in September in there. That is that's an example of but we also have the full online learning attached to this, so you can actually put your courses in there and everything else, which I can train you. There's one other thing I just want to point out. If you go to the sponsor section, you can actually sponsor our calls, right? So if you say, wow, I really love Tech Talk, I want to sponsor it. What's the cost of sponsoring Tech Talk, right? Woohoo! I think it's like $100 or $125 or something for the month. And really, that's an amazing ad, okay? Because every tile that we create, every promotional that we create for it will have your information on it. Every week on the Weekly Minute, we will mention that you are the sponsor. Every video that we post at the beginning, like when I say thank you everybody for joining us, I say Morning Coffee is sponsored by, or Tech Talk is sponsored by Teresa Lutz, right? So thanks, Teresa. So we do all of that, and of course on every video, at the bottom of the video, we will put your logo on there if you'd like. So that will be consistent throughout the entire length of the video. So there's all kinds of great things you can get for that. Great ad. And then blog is, if you happen to have missed something, let's say that you really wanted to come out here, John, to the photo walk, you can go into the blog section there, and it'll show you all the pictures of all the things that we've done that you missed, so that you know whether or not to come out and join us for the next one.
Actually, yeah. So I officially signed that client to Hamilton. So I'm going to be coming down. I was actually thinking it'd be cool to come down and visit him around one of these walks.
That would be great.
Because I'd love to learn some more about photography as well. So I could,
Great.
And the three of them were such a wealth. Wally and his brother.
And Ivan.
Yeah. But what's up? What is Wally's brothers? Slavko. I listened to them talking to your friend Angela. And one would say something and you could see the confusion on her face. She's trying to, and then the other one would play off of it. And it was like, I was sitting there going, keep asking questions, Angela. This is amazing.
That's right. Yeah, totally amazing. So that's the site. The third thing I'd like to point out is sponsorship. Sub accounts. I keep mentioning it, but I can't believe no one's taking me up on it. So every one of you, if you are a business member or an accelerator member or even a city leader, you get 2 accounts if you want it, right? So you have, let's say, Dizange social media. If you say, you know what, my wife has a business, I'd like to actually list my wife, then you can go into your dashboard, and at the bottom of the dashboard, it says sub account. It enables you to create a completely separate listing that's included. It doesn't cost you anything more. And that separate business, now that separate business has a separate username and password, right? Has a separate password. So same username, your email address, different password. You can go into that account, but then once you go into that account, then you have to then log out and log back in as your old self. They can't log into your account, but you can log into their account. right? But because you're the primary owner, but it is there for you. Absolutely, you can go ahead and create that second sub account, and it lasts for the duration of your membership. All right. If you have your own another business, let's say that you have a primary hustle and you've got a secondary hustle, whatever that secondary hustle is, go ahead and create that page. All right. So I just wanted to point that out. People are asking me about it. I thought, no one really understands the sub account thing. So there you go. Anybody have any questions? Okay, I have been thorough. So here we go. We're going to talk about avoiding conflict. How many people love conflict? Huh?
Online.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible, John, Sheila, to avoid conflict in business?
Conflict's an interesting word. When I think of conflict, I feel more like a heated, head-to-head clashing. I think in business, I've learned to let things cool down before approaching people. So yes, it's impossible to make everybody happy. It's impossible never to disagree with someone. It's impossible never to, not see eye to eye with somebody. But to avoid conflict, yeah, I think it's possible. Now, with that being said, I work from home, so it's easy for me to hang up a phone or turn off a Zoom and go and yell and swear into a pillow. But if you have a brick and mortar,
that
exactly. But I remember back when I was in retail, when I was working at a pool store, and people would come in and go, "Why do I have to wait in line?" They're angry, they're yelling at you. So I think if you have a brick and mortar store, no, you're going to have conflict for sure.
Yeah, it's you can't control the other person, right? I mean, you might have, your calm self, right? And for some reason, they just won't calm down, right? So, and they want the conflict. Have you ever met people like that just love to just love the fight? They just love the battle, right?
And you get to know them in retail, or when you have a brick and mortar. They walk in, you're like, oh, I'm going for break. I'm done. I'm going.
Yeah. Before they even speak, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, but you also get customers who are great. Because I did a lot of retail, anything from women's clothing to crafts, all kinds of stuff. And you get some customers who are really good.
Yeah, of course. Chris, go ahead.
And fun to work with.
I was just going to say, there is nothing more fun to have somebody come in and it's all blah, 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 and you go, "You're right. I agree with you completely." And they just go,
Yeah.
but they're looking for a fight, and you refuse to fight.
Yeah.
It's the greatest fun, because I work for a printing company as a customer service rep, and yeah, it's like, they don't know what to do with you because you're not prepared to fight with them.
You just disarm them, right? Yeah, I agree with you.
Now,
Absolutely.
I don't often have conflict, but I have conflict in the fact that I get a lot of groups that are doing this as my training is an in-service. So it's people who have not seen each other for months or just on a radio kind of thing. And so they don't want to listen to me. All they want to do is visit. Right. And so it leads to conflict within the group because the group's looking for me to take control. I'm not anybody's mom.
Mm-hmm.
So it leads to difficulties in that manner because they know the longer it takes me to get control of the class, the longer the class will take as well. So that's the kind of conflict I end up having, which is still as uncomfortable as an all-out argument, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the one thing is that if you're in business, you're dealing with people. If you're dealing with people, then you're going to have conflict because not everybody is like me. Jesus, like, but I put my hand up. I was talking about you. Okay. All right. Anyway, I don't even want to go there. But we're seeking therapy. Anyway. So, but listen, here's the thing. I'll give you the 9, because I ran out of time. It was going to be 10. I'll give you the 9 tips I have about conflict. The first tip is don't avoid it. Don't avoid it. the sooner that you deal with it, the better it is. If not, those conflicts go on for a long time. So always deal with it right then and there. Somebody says, I really need to talk to you about this. Okay, let's do it now. Let's do it now. Okay, let's get it out of the way. Toot sweet. Has anybody ever discovered that when someone says, you and I need to talk about this, I can't right now, but we'll talk on Tuesday, which is like 4 days from now.
I hate that.
That thing balloons in both of your brains from that moment until Tuesday.
Yep.
And it becomes this monster that you get anxiety and all this stuff, right?
It's called catastrophizing.
Catastrophizing.
It could be simple, and I've had it happen where I had a client who said, "Hey, listen, John, I need to talk to you, but I'm not free until 9 p.m. tomorrow night." And I'm like, man, this guy wants to talk at 9 at night. This is horrible. Getting fired, this is brutal. Zoom call. Great work, John. I seen that post you did. I love it. It was funny. What can we do? You want some more money? Let's make this. I'm just like, wow, that went like completely 180 where I thought it was going to go because I had 32 hours to catastrophize the situation. So, yeah.
Yeah. The other night, I got a text from Catherine at 9:30 at night saying, Ivan, we need to meet for coffee tomorrow. I'll buy. I'm thinking, oh no. So I talked to Teresa, like, what's going on? Like, are we breaking up? Like, I don't even know what's going on here. So sure enough, I'm nervous. I put on my best cologne. I showered. I shaved my head. I thought I buffed it a little bit so I had a nice shine. Anyway,
my husband appreciated all of it.
Thank you. It was great. But then, in fact, he was the first one that came to meet me.
Yes.
Anyway, the point is, we just sat down and had coffee. It was nothing, right? So yes, you can catastrophize things for sure, right? So the second point is listen with emotional intelligence. What does that mean? Listen with
Don't let
emotional.
the little P thing in the back of your brain take over. You have to let your executive thinking be in control, which as a female, I don't think is possible. I'm 56, 7, however old I am now. And I still go, okay, Catherine, take control. Don't let the tears go. Breathe, all that stuff. And it's hard.
Go ahead, Chris. I know you want to say something.
I was just going to say it. We learned a phrase that says, listen to understand, not to reply.
Chris, I'm going to tell you something. If I had to write down my number one challenge, that's it.
Right? Mine too. You want to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is that I'm telling you this, sometimes when you're in a conflict, you feel like you're the peacemaker, right? That you're trying to calm them down. It's okay. I'm going to calm. But sometimes in a conflict, I feel like I'm locked and loaded, right? And I'm ready to go. And every time that you start to say something, I'm already 15 miles ahead of you. I know what you're going to say. So I'm responding to what I know you're going to say, right? Right there. And even though I might be 100% right, does it ever cheese off the other person? I'm not looking at you, Teresa, but does it ever cheese off the other person? Because they just want to be able to say it. Right? So listening for people like me, A-type personalities, listening is hard, especially when, the other person doesn't say that 3-word response as quickly as I want them to. All right. So listen with emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is that gap between them saying something and your brain having the answer, and you just go, no, just hold on a second here. Do you really want to say that? You better think, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So you better think.
Not necessarily equal, by the way.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So that's the second one. I have 2.5, which is blessed are the peacemakers, right? Don't broaden the conflict. I have a conflict with Jonathan. I'm not calling up Catherine and telling her about my conflict with Jonathan.
Bring the pie.
How many people have had a conflict with somebody and they went and told other people, and then when you actually spoke about it, it was resolved. But then afterwards, you start hearing about all of these other people that were brought into the conflict, right? It is a tough one, right? So as soon as you share it with other people, those people become confused when they see you back chummy, right?
Yeah.
Don't they? They're like, what? Are you hypocritical? Like, what's going on? You told me, how can you still talk to? So don't broaden the conflict.
You might be bringing this up in another point. If so, I apologize. But when you say don't broaden it with the relationship you're in. So don't be like, Ivan, listen, man, you said this was going to be done today. This happened 7 months ago and you said this. And then 8 months ago you said this. So don't broaden it beyond the scope of what you're already.
Preach it, brother. Preach it. Mm-hmm.
That is a woman thing. Yeah.
What you mean. Listen, you know what? I'm guilty of that because I know that in business, you can definitely say, ever since we signed that deal, you've been like this. and that's not really cool. Interesting. Yeah, you can't broaden it that way. You leave it contained because the minute that you broaden it, it becomes unmanageable. It becomes the solution becomes unattainable because it's just too vast. You have to leave it.
It's a snowball, right? And then it's pointing fingers. It's you said this, you said that. So
yeah,
it takes discipline to stay in that one scope, but it's essential.
Beautifully said. I know I don't have that as a point, but I should. Okay, so the next one is repeat the main points. So this is something I learned way back when I worked at Cantel, and that was where I would have a conflict with my boss, and what would happen is we would have a discussion, and then she would then repeat back the main points of what I said. She'd repeat it back to me. So what you're saying really is that I did this and I did this and it hurt you this way and this is what happened and this is what the thing is and you really want me to do this. Is that fair enough? I go, yeah, you were listening, right? So they repeat back the main points. I thought that was really good. Now, of course, hopefully the next response isn't no, but if they hear all your points and then even if the decision is not in the way that you want it to go, at least you know that you've been hurt, right? And that it wasn't, they're not pacifying you. Catherine, you're going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and that's to make sure that you understand what the person is saying to you, because I've had questions asked of me and I'll go on, and I'll go, does that answer your question? They'll go, no. Oh, so by doing that, you'll find out if you missed the mark on what they said, if you're not repeating it verbatim kind of thing.
That's happened to me a couple times too, where I'll have a client email me saying, and I took it as an aggressive email, scolding me. But really what it is they just don't know how to communicate because they don't know what I do. Right. So when I put it back in the layman's terms form, did you mean this? Like, no, not at all. I meant this. Oh, so before I get worked up, it's diffused already.
Yeah. It's, repeating those main points. I think sometimes even when I repeat back the main points to them, I find that I actually process it. And in that repeating it back, I'm going, oh, I'm sorry. There's aha moments in that repeating back that I'm actually brainstorming through the challenge, right? So I find that, and they're probably just watching me going, wow, you're really going deep on this. You're okay. You keep figuring that thing out, but it's really good to do that. The fourth point is empathy, of course. Empathy. It is real important that you try to put yourself in their spot, right? It's real important. Like
Walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
you have no, and you know what? How can you walk a mile in somebody else's shoes? You have no idea. I can't walk a mile in Catherine's shoes. I don't know what it's like to be in her spot. I don't know what she's been through over the past year. Like, I have no idea. I have no idea. And, you know, sometimes it's not the things that have happened this past week that leads to someone's response. It's the things that's happened to them over the lifetime. So I can't walk a mile in their shoes, right? So for me, just giving them the benefit of the doubt, because no one, well, not many people are hell bent on self-destruction. You know, not many people. I mean, I'm sure there are some out there, but most people want to thrive. So they want friendships and they want relationships. So, you know, you just have to give them the benefit of the doubt and figure out what the challenge is. Okay. The other one is stick to the facts dash in love. Okay. So when you stick to the facts, I can stick to the facts and beat you up with those facts, right? But if you just think about it, how important is a relationship to you? Is it important? You worked hard to get the relationship. I mean, you probably spent money on advertising. You have resources and everything else for that relationship. And some relationships, they eventually grow old and they got to go, right? But really, when you're sticking to the facts, stick to the facts and be gentle about it. You know, be empathetic about it. Use emotional intelligence about it. Stick to the facts in love, all right? Consider your business values, your mission, your culture when responding. Some of us spend a lot of time, they put together our mission and everything else on our website, right? But then the way they behave goes contrary to that.
I have to chime in on this one, man. So one thing I love to say is every single interaction your business makes is a form of brand. So how you respond to a message, that's your brand to that person.
Absolutely.
And how you handle Google reviews or Facebook reviews is more important than the review itself.
Hmm.
So I know a business that will have a full-on temper tantrum.
Whoa.
And like someone leaves you a bad review and you just go in on them and you call them names and you try and make them look stupid. And they think this is a great, and I'm like, you can't do that, man. You can't. Like, maybe put that guy in his place, but you're gonna lose, sales over that. So so you really have to be careful of you gotta remember you're representing your brand with everything you do. So how you respond to that person, you're painting those words on your forehead as your brand.
I got a cute little story for you. So I have had advertising on my car since 2010, right? And so I had two teenagers growing up driving my cars. I'd always have to remind them, remember, there's my logo. If I hear anything back, you'll lose privileges.
Yeah, you had a contract or something, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, that was for drinking and driving. Yeah. And so I have had two complaints over X amount of years since 2010. They've both been on me.
Mm.
And so the last one, I was coming out of Tim Hortons onto a 4-lane one-way. I safely exited, but the driver that had a brand new, a 4-month-old, a newborn in the car didn't feel I did. So she followed me a couple more blocks, took the time to take her phone out, take a picture of me, and then email me about my terrible driving, right?
Wow.
And it was like, okay, so my contact at the job, and I thought, I can't even send this to my husband because he would just like fly off because he wanted to fix it for me, right? And it was like, I can't say anything to, well, I think it was Mary that I had just talked to. So I said, well, Mary assures me that she safely exited, looking, but nonetheless, we apologize for you feeling that way. And I have spoken to her, right? Because there is no win.
No win.
It would be a no-win situation. She would get on Facebook with my picture of my car.
Spread it all over the place.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How my employees are, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't worth it. I could say all the things I wanted to say to her in my car, but not on the email.
I have to tell you, just to add to that, how many times have the most embarrassing thing, John, I'm going to confess. Some guy's going really slow in the fast lane, and I just whip around him. And then I'm stuck at the lights, and that slow bugger, the light does not change before to save me the embarrassment. He slowly comes up to that light, and guess what he does? He looks over. I tell you, it's terrible, right? It's embarrassing. So that's why I don't put a logo on the side of my car.
I took mine off. I used to have the names on my car, and I received a death threat once. So I was like, that's enough of that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I've gotten business. I've actually gotten business.
Yep, I had 2 or 3 clients from it. I have. But then I got to the point where I'm pretty busy and I don't really want to die. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take these off. Because I'll honk the horn at someone. Downtown London is brutal. Someone cut me off and I honked the horn at him. And he pulled up beside me, tinted windows, couldn't see him. I'm like, whatever. And then that night, I got a death threat from him. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Good,
I had a situation.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't interrupt. I was going to say I had a situation last week where I was working from home, but I had a client meeting for like an annual review, and I was with my family. We were leaving. I forget where we were, but anyway, we were driving home. It was me, my wife, and the 2 kids. And something had happened like probably 30 minutes earlier that kind of put me on edge, right? So I was driving a little bit more aggressively than I should have been. And I remember turning onto Mohawk Road and somebody pulls out of the no frills and cuts me off. And I laid the horn on this guy for like a good 7 seconds. Like it wasn't like a quick, like, you stupid SOB. Like I held that horn. And then we're both driving down Mohawk in the same direction. He's directly in front of me. And I took a few seconds and I was like, holy crap, that is my client that I'm literally about to have a meeting with in 45 minutes.
No!
So he lives in my neighborhood. He's a client that lives in my neighborhood. I recognize the vehicle and I was like, oh my God, that is so-and-so. My wife's like, what do you mean? I'm like, that's the guy I have a meeting with in 45 minutes.
That's when I find a car rental place, rent a different vehicle.
Take your wife's car.
Yeah.
I don't think he recognized. Well, it was funny. Like of course, I didn't say anything in the meeting. But as soon as I recognized the car, and you know how sometimes you can sort of recognize the size of someone's head, like the side of someone's head through the window, and I was like, holy smokes, that's him. And I said to my wife, I'm like, that's the guy I'm supposed to be meeting in a little bit. And she's like, lay it off. And then funny enough, so there's 2 ways to get into our neighborhood. And something tells me that he felt embarrassed because he cut me off. So he took a different way to get into the neighborhood. So I think he took like sort of the scenic route. And I was like, okay, so he's equally as embarrassed as I am at this point. That's sort of the vibe I was picking up. But when we had the meeting, I was like, I'm not saying a word. I don't know if he recognized me. I know I recognize him. So I'm just going to play it off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say that the corollary to your story, Ivan, is as you pull up beside the guy, you get the entire car full of people and you wave at him.
Yeah, that's what I meant to do all along. I was just, honking at you just to, that I'm saying.
Okay, especially Nathan and Ivan, next time you want to blow the horn and get really mad at somebody, just imagine when you pull up, it's your pastor beside you.
Yes. Yeah. Of course. And that's why, you can't.
It's not worth it, guys. That's why I'm okay.
I'm a Christian on there.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you put I'm a Christian on the side of your car, then you have to drive like Jesus would drive, right? Because if not,
how do you even know how Jesus would drive? Come on, he might be a speeder.
He wouldn't honk his horn at you.
No, okay, that's true.
I used to drive a transport truck, and I tell you, I miss the air horns because somebody cuts you off and you lay on those puppies. I'm telling you, people change their shorts.
So the next point number 8. There's only 2 more, and that is positive reinforcement where possible. And what that means is this: you have a conflict with somebody, and you have been following the other points, right? By the way, I know people that if I were to say to them, hey, John, we need to talk. We should actually set something up and we should have a conversation. John is going to go, oh no, and he's going to be stressed out. So, and then everything I say in that meeting, he's waiting for the punchline. He's waiting for okay, all of what you're saying leads up to this conclusion. What is that conclusion, right? But if I sweeten it a little bit with reinforcing the positive things that they've done, I'm talking about the negative, right? About the things that have caused me concern, but I'm also reinforcing, them and what they're doing and their contribution to the company and, and all that stuff. It makes them listen more because their shields aren't up. Right? They start to, shields up, and it doesn't matter what you say. They're just waiting for it, right? And they're terrified, and they don't remember anything afterwards. But if you give them positive reinforcement where possible, then unless they completely suck, then that's different, right?
Yeah, it's the conflict sandwich, right?
Yeah.
You start off sweet, the middle is your conflict, and you end it sweet, right?
That's
You
right.
know what, guys? There's some studies, because that's what I always did, the sandwich, right? Effect. But there's some studies out there now that suggest if you don't let them know that criticism is coming in some manner, like obviously not blunt or anything, that your brain will go, did I miss something? Right? So I got compliment, then I got a compliment, and I went, so what's the problem?
Right.
Never caught what was in the middle. So to say to them, we need to discuss about your performance during the last meeting, right? My concern, and be very specific. All those points that you're using, I'll put up an email or a TED talk that I use for my instructors when they're helping to talk to other people. It's a short one. She's only about 5 minutes, and she's amazing. It was like, wow, that goes contrary to everything that I learned in adult education.
One thing that I found I like to do when I speak to my employees, if I say, hey, listen, I need to have a chat with you tomorrow. Not a huge deal, but I notice your engagement numbers are a little bit down. I just want to talk about it with you, see if we can fix it. It gives them a time to research themselves what's going on. And they come to the meeting saying, oh, you know what? I think it's because of this. And I'll look up. You're right. It is. Thank you for researching it. And that's the sweetness, right? The bitterness is gone now. You know what the problem was. You researched it. You found a solution. Love it. Work it. We'll talk next week. And that conflict just became a conversation.
Yeah, good for you.
Okay, so the next point is don't be afraid of criticism. It is important that you recognize where you are failing, right? Now, how many times have you dealt with folks that you'd say something to them, hey, Becky, you're the receptionist, but you never pick up the phone. Can we, you need to be able to look at it and go, you know what, you're right. I don't ever pick up the phone. He's absolutely right. I did hear that ringing. I wasn't sure what it was, but I guess that's my job, right? But if you say, yeah, well, you got me all busy and you got me this, you got me filing, you got me welcoming people and getting them coffee. You're missing the point, Becky. You're not answering the phone, right? You have to at some point say, you know what, you are right. I have been missing picking up the phone, and I'll address it, right? Especially if it's an employee, John, who comes to you and says, John, I've been working here for 3 months now, and you've never paid me. You go, I'm busy. I'm busy. I run a business. You got to be able to say, you know what, Becky, you're absolutely right. You have to recognize.
It's so funny you say that because I have an employee named Tanya. If she watches this, she'll laugh. I forget to pay her every payday because I'm just so busy and I have to manually do it. So it'll be Friday afternoon. She's like, hey, John, do you mind sending me I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, right? So I'll send it to her. And I'm giving her a bonus one day because I forgot to pay her like 6 weeks in a row. She gets paid that day, but she has to always remind me. So, but I will, flip side of that, Ivan, it took me years to learn to take criticism. I used to get so defensive when people would criticize my work because it's perfect. You must love it the way I love it. How dare you not love it and make, put me in your will because you love it so much.
That's right.
And as soon as it took me a long time to not put my back up against the wall and fiercely defend my work and try and convince people to love it instead of just being like, oh, you know what? That's what you're envisioning? Okay, let me do this for you. It took a lot of time to do that.
John, I'm telling you, I'm like you. We have a client that I was designing they're on Barton Street. I was designing the big banner, the sign to go above their store, right? And I designed it. It was perfect. It fit all the fundamentals for design, and that people could see it from miles away and everything else. And the client was like, no. Anyway, what the client wanted was, in my opinion, not right. But that is what they wanted. And so does it matter?
In our industry,
does it matter what I think?
Exactly. In our industry, it's interesting because we might know better.
We know better.
We might know, hey, that post for Facebook doesn't work what works on Facebook. But they want it maybe or what, but it is, that's
and to have somebody criticize you when you know better, and they're just foolish, whatever, right? Is like, how dare you, right? And then you want to criticize them. But listen, it isn't about you. It isn't about you. You're in business about them, right? So the thing is, you just gotta, like these people say, slow your roll. You gotta just realize that you're not, you have to take that criticism and go, you know what? Priorities here. You're the most important thing. This is what you want. I mean, you've obviously seen what the alternative is, and you're saying, no, I want what I want. Then you get what you want, no matter what, right? Anyway.
The only thing that drives me nuts is when you do that, and then you do what they want. They go, oh, you know what? Oh, I like the other one better. Go back to that.
That's okay. There's a fee attached to that. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say two things. One of which was, when I was in the printing business, we would get that up because people would send us these pictures they took off the internet at 72 DPI and want to make a 4x8 sign with it. And I used to just take a section of it and print it at what they wanted and go, and they would go, oh yeah, that's not going to look right, is it? No.
That's right.
That solves a lot of problems.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So,
but the other thing is, sometimes you just have to say, maybe you'd be happier with somebody else.
Yeah, I've done that before, but I think that sometimes when I say that, then I don't learn nothing, right? The thing is, the thing for me is that there's some things that I create, John, that I don't put my name on, because another marketer is going to look at that and go, oh, look at that, like obviously that's a marketing company.
I have a handful of websites out there that my name's not on it. I don't have in the bottom, designed by Design Social Media. This is what you wanted. Cool. Don't tell anybody about me, please. I don't want your referrals at this point, please.
Yeah, I have a client down in Texas, Kennedy, Texas, and we built a site for them in 2009. And it's just an older site, and they have never changed it. I keep saying you need to, some of the technology just, doesn't work anymore. Like, you know what I mean? And they're like, no, that's the way it is. And every year they pay for the renewal and for the hosting, and the site has not ever changed. And I think to myself, what are you doing, man? But, at the end of the day, my little made by myagency.ca is taken off the bottom. But you know what? If that's what you want, that's it. Great, no problem. Would I send that business somewhere else so somebody else can put, $2 gas in their tank? No, I'll take it for sure. But I'm just not going to. Okay, so the last one is, don't be afraid to solicit professional outside help. If you have a conflict that is festering that you don't know, some people feel overwhelmed when there's a conflict, because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You just don't know how to resolve it without it getting out of control. Then bring somebody in, somebody that can handle this. I think that that it's important that at the end of the day, what is the outcome that you want? You want peace. You don't want to be stressed out. You don't want to have this this potential time bomb going off somewhere in the future. You want to make sure that that is kind of resolved, right? So so it's important that you don't leave it and go, hopefully it'll go away. Right? It might, but then again, sometimes it might not, right? Any final thoughts on that before we wrap up?
One thing I would just say about that is, especially if you have employees or if you have subcontractors, there's so many laws that you can and can't say, or can and can't ask this question or whatever. I did have an employee ask for some time off for mental health reasons. And before I even responded, of course I don't mind doing it. But I contacted a friend in HR and I'm like, hey, like, how should I handle this? And they gave me some tips because it's the first time I approached it and there are laws about it. So I always hire out my weaknesses. If I'm weak in one area, I hire out for it. And that was a time where, it's a landmine. I wasn't expecting it to turn into anything big, but also didn't want it to have the opportunity to turn into anything big.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris.
The other thing about employees is, if they get into a conflict with somebody, find out the details, but support the employees, because I was fortunate enough to work for a company that was a family-owned company, and we had a situation with this one client that just kept coming in, and we could never make her happy. And one day she came in and she was blowing up at the front office people. They used to send me out because I didn't get that upset with her. I just went, yeah, sure, fine. And because you couldn't make her happy. But she did it one day, and the president of the company happened to be in the office, and he just walked out and said, if you're not happy, there's lots of other printing companies.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's just not worth it to have that miserable client where you dread every time they come through the front door.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and you know what? To be honest with you, Chris, I always like to, because if they don't know where the boundaries are, then they'll just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, right? So sometimes I usually do this in sales presentations when I go in to do a sale, right? I've gone through the brain death of cold calling and booking the appointment and going in, actually getting in my car, driving to an appointment, and I'm in there. If I feel there's the 7-minute window, within 7 minutes, you pretty much have done your introduction and you're building rapport and you're starting to go through the presentation. If I don't sense that they're committed to the time, they got a lot of people coming in and out and whatever else, I just say, listen, you know what? You seem really busy. I'm wasting a lot of your time. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I didn't realize, I love what you guys are doing here, and I'm out of here. 9 times out of 10, they'll go, no, wait, sorry, let me close the door. Let me just hold on. 9 times out of 10, they'll stop. But they need to know that there is a boundary, right? And that boundary, you're not going to put up with anything past that boundary, right? And if you do put up with it, then they look at you like you're a putz, right? So there has to be an understanding of the boundary. Like they don't have to buy, but they have to commit the time to listen, right? If they've done it over the phone where they say, hey, yes, Catherine, you are allowed to come by and see me and do your presentation, then they have to commit the time to listen, right? And that's basically it. Anybody else's thoughts on that before we wrap it up? All right, listen, folks, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great Victoria Day. Today is beautiful outside, 17 degrees. Just remember, check out the .ca site. Register for axe throwing, please. I'd love to have a nice team of people, so that we can play boys against girls. That'll be. I have a feeling that women, are going to be better than us.
We just have to agree on the same target. That's all.
That's right. Yeah. You can put a picture up in front on the target to be able to aim at, right? So,
Oh,
Oh, that might have to be changed then every time. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We'll do it.
yeah, I got multiple ones, so yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Maggie's on my team. Okay. All right, everybody. Have an amazing day. Take care.
Bye,
Thanks.
everybody.
Okay.
All right.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.